Kale drifted in the quiet void of Sector 9, his ship barely making a sound as it floated between dead satellites and scraps of forgotten war debris. The stars here didn't blink. The silence had weight, and Kale had learned to live in it. His ship Drifter was a small salvage vessel, patched together with stolen parts and held by hope more than metal. Kale liked it that way. It kept him invisible. Out here, being invisible meant being alive. The comms crackled. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. It wasn't random static. It was a signal. Repeating. Weak but steady. Earth command, repeat. Requesting identification. Kale's heart slowed. Earth command. That couldn't be right. Earth was gone. Dead for 1,000 years. Its name only showed up in old data logs and children's stories. He tapped his console. The signal was real. Old Earth frequency. Not used by any known ships. Not spoofed either. Too precise. Too steady. He ran a trace. The signal came from the edge of a broken moon cluster, where no one ever went. Kale hesitated. Logic said leave it alone. Every salvager knew better than to chase ghost signals. But curiosity was a loud voice. And so was boredom. He powered up the engines and turned Drifter toward the signal. Hours passed. Kale reached the source. His ship's lights cut through the dust and rock, revealing something massive in the dark. A ship. It floated silently, half hidden behind a cracked asteroid. No lights, no movement, but the signal came from inside. Kale stared. The ship looked like nothing in Dominion records. Its design was angular, sharp, with human-style markings scorched along the hull. Most had faded, but one symbol was clear. A blue circle with a star inside it. The old Earth emblem, he whispered. Impossible. Still, he moved closer. Drifter's scan showed no life signs. No heat, no movement, just that slow, steady signal. Kale suited up. His hands shook as he stepped into the airlock. Just in and out, he told himself. Grab data. Maybe salvage something. Then leave. He drifted into the dead ship. Inside, the halls were wide and dark. The walls were lined with tech he didn't recognize. Human tech. Dust floated like snow. Everything was frozen in time. He found control panels with English text. A log still glowed faintly on a console. He played it. A tired voice spoke. This is Commander Ilian of the Starblade. Final approach to recon zone. Earth Protocol 7 in effect. No contact with known civilizations for 1,143 years. If found, tell them we survived. The recording ended. Kale stood frozen. We survived. Suddenly, his ship's comm lit up. Incoming Dominion signal. Kale swore and turned back. Outside, sleek silver enforcer ships were approaching fast. They must have tracked the signal too. He ran back to Drifter, powered it up, and fired the engines. The Dominion ships scanned him but didn't follow. Not yet. They wanted to see what he saw first. As Kale sped away, he looked once more at the silent warship behind him. Humans were just a story, he whispered. But that's no story. Kale's ship shot through the dark like a spark fleeing fire. His heart pounded. The Dominion was behind him, crawling all over the wreck. He didn't stop to think, just moved. Inside his cockpit, he reviewed the data he'd grabbed. One log, and few damaged scans. Not much, but enough to prove something big. Humans weren't extinct. They had ships. They were out there. He opened the file again. The voice from the Starblade replayed. If found, tell them we survived. Kale stared out into the stars. Why now? Why return after all this time? His thoughts were cut short by a sharp beep. Incoming transmission. Encrypted. Unknown source. Kale's hand hovered over the decline button. But then he thought, what if it's them? He accepted. The screen flickered. A face appeared. Human. Dark eyes. Short cropped hair. Calm, but watching him closely. You found our ship, the man said. Kale didn't answer right away. You're human. Yes, the man said. And we've been watching. You weren't supposed to find it yet. Kale frowned. Who are you? I'm Lieutenant Rain of the human vessel Sentinel. We've been in deep space for centuries. Hidden, waiting. Kale shook his head. Earth's gone. Humans are gone. Rain didn't blink. Earth may be gone, but humans are not. A second later, the screen cut out. Kale sat there, stunned. No signal trace. No location data. The message was sent and gone like a ghost. Back at the wreck site, Commander Vetra Sol stepped onto the ancient warship. She wore a black Dominion suit, sharp-lined and stiff. Her boots echoed down the hallway as she walked past the Dominion enforcers who were already scanning the ship. "Status?" she asked. "Dead ship," said the officer beside her. "No power, but it's definitely human in origin." Vetra narrowed her eyes. "So the stories were true." "Possibly," the officer said. "But we don't know how many are out there, or what they want." Vetra looked at the markings on the wall. Human letters, faded and old. She remembered reading about them in archives. Violent, emotional, unpredictable. "Seal this area. No leaks. No reports. I want this ship scrubbed from all records," she said. "Yes, Commander." She turned and walked back to her own ship. As she boarded, her thoughts darkened. If humans had returned, they would bring trouble. Old wars, old chaos. She had to stop them before the galaxy remembered their name. Kale hid Drifter in a cloud field, thick with magnetic dust. No scans could reach him here. He listened to the recording again, then opened the logs from the Dominion comms. They were trying to suppress it, already scrubbing signals, pretending the ship never existed. But he saw it. He had proof. And someone out there, someone human, knew he did. Kale leaned back in his chair, staring at the blinking stars. Something big was coming. He felt it. The silence was ending. Kale didn't sleep. He sat in the cockpit, staring into the dark. His ship floated quietly in the magnetic dust field, hidden from scanners. The stars outside didn't move, but his mind wouldn't stop. He had seen a human warship, he had spoken to a human, and now the Dominion was covering it up. He wasn't safe. He knew it. He just didn't know what to do next. The console beeped. A new signal came through. Same encryption as before. Same unknown source. Kale didn't hesitate this time. He accepted. The screen stayed black for a few seconds. Then the voice came, calm, steady, and human. "You need to come with us." Kale frowned. "Why?" "Because the Dominion will kill you. And because we don't want that." Before Kale could reply, a deep hum vibrated through his ship. Lights flickered. Systems dimmed. Something was outside. He jumped up, rushed to the viewport. A massive ship hovered just beyond the dust cloud. Dark, silent, and invisible to sensors. No markings, no lights. Then with a soft pull, his ship was caught in a docking field. He didn't fight it. He knew they could have destroyed him if they wanted to. Kale stood in the airlock, suit sipped, heart thudding. The docking clamps locked in place. A hiss of air. The door opened. He stepped into the unknown. The ship was colder than he expected. Clean, quiet, no rust or dust. The hallways were smooth, built for efficiency, not comfort. Two armed guards met him. Human, real humans. They didn't speak, just nodded and walked ahead. Kale followed. They led him to a large chamber, part command center, part observation deck. Stars stretched wide across the front window. One figure stood alone, facing space. The man turned. Kale recognized him. "Lieutenant Rain." "You've caused a bit of noise," Rain said. Kale stayed quiet. Rain gestured for him to sit. "You're lucky we found you before the enforcers did." "You've been watching me." "Yes, since you boarded the Starblade. You weren't supposed to find it yet." Kale leaned forward. "Then tell me, what is this? Why are you hiding? Why now?" Rain looked tired, but focused. "Because the galaxy wasn't ready, and maybe we weren't either." He explained everything. 1,000 years ago, when Earth collapsed, a fleet escaped, built in secret by nations who saw the end coming. They fled into deep space, far beyond the known systems. They built new colonies, trained in silence, waiting for the right time to return. "Why return at all?" Kale asked. Rain's voice dropped. "Because the Dominion has grown soft, corrupt, controlling. You think there's peace, but it's only silence. We want to bring back choice." Kale stared at him. "Sounds like you want war." Rain shook his head. We want truth. But we're ready for war, if that's what the Dominion chooses. Status. Kale felt a chill. These weren't lost survivors. These were planners, builders, warriors. Rain stood. You're a link, Kale. You've seen both sides. You can help shape what comes next. I'm just a salvager, Kale said. Status. Not anymore. Status. Meanwhile, aboard her Dominion cruiser, Commander Vetra Sol watched the decrypted footage of Kale's ship vanishing from scans. She clenched her jaw. They took him. Yes, Commander, her officer said. Vetra looked out at the stars. Then we treat him as one of them. She turned to her crew. Send out the order. Kale is now a Class T threat. Human sympathizer. Wanted dead or alive. Kale sat alone in the small cabin the humans gave him. It was clean and quiet, but it didn't feel like home. Nothing about this ship felt right. It was too quiet, too perfect. Outside, human ships moved in formation, not large fleets, but enough to matter, enough to fight. He kept thinking about Rain's words. We want truth, but we're ready for war. Kale didn't want war. He didn't want to pick a side. But now he was in the middle of it. The Dominion wanted him dead. The humans wanted him to speak for them. He didn't ask for any of this. A soft knock sounded at his door. It slid open, and Rain stepped in. We're moving, Rain said, toward a meeting point. A meeting with the Dominion. Kale stood. They agreed? Not officially, Rain said, but we intercepted their scans. Vetra is coming. She wants you. Kale's heart sank. So you're using me as bait? Rain didn't flinch. You're our voice. If you can talk to her, reason with her. Maybe this ends without blood. Kale shook his head. You really think she'll listen? No, Rain said simply. But maybe you'll surprise her. 3 hours later, Kale stood aboard a small neutral platform orbiting a cold, empty moon. It was old, unused since the early peace treaties. Now it served as the first meeting ground between humans and the Dominion in over 1,000 years. Kale waited with Rain and 2 unarmed guards. A Dominion shuttle landed across from them. Sleek, cold, Commander Vetra Sol stepped out. She wore her full uniform. Black, clean, sharp. Her face gave nothing away. She walked straight up to Kale. I should kill you, she said flatly. Kale met her gaze. Then why haven't you? Because I want to hear what lie you've been fed, she said. Rain stepped forward. It's not a lie. Humanity survived. We want peace. Vetra raised a hand. You want control. Kale's. Just like before. Kale stepped between them. Stop. Just stop. They both looked at him. I don't care what history says. I saw what you're both willing to do. The Dominion buries the truth. The humans hide in shadows. And I'm standing in the middle, wondering why either of you deserves to lead anyone. Rain frowned. We only want to give the galaxy a choice. Vetra's voice turned sharp. And if they choose us, then you won't have to fight us, Rain said. A long silence followed. Kale spoke again. Softer now. You don't have to start a war. Not today. There's another way. Vetra narrowed her eyes. You speak like you're above this. I'm not. Kale said. I'm scared. We all should be. More silence. Then slowly, Vetra stepped back. I'll report this meeting. I'll recommend delay. Nothing more. Rain nodded. That's all we ask. Kale exhaled. But as the Dominion shuttle left, a silent alarm blinked red inside Rain's comm unit. He tapped it. His face turned pale. What is it? Kale asked. Rain looked up. A human patrol was attacked. One of our ships destroyed. Kale's chest tightened. The Dominion. Rain's eyes hardened. They broke the delay. No. Kale whispered. They didn't. He turned toward the stars, knowing what was coming. Someone fired first. The stars lit up with fire. Kale stood at the edge of the viewing deck on the Sentinel, watching as blips on the radar turned into red warnings. Human ships moved into defensive positions. Dominion warships were closing in. They're not answering comms, Rain said. No warning, no signal. They're just coming. Kale's voice was tight. You said there was a delay. There was. Rain looked at the screen, face tense. Someone didn't wait. In orbit above the cold moon, a small human patrol ship drifted in pieces, its hull torn by a direct strike. The Dominion had fired. Whether it was a mistake or a message didn't matter. Now, the first warship to respond was the Vigilant, a human destroyer. It powered up its shields and turned to face the Dominion line. Commander Vetra stood aboard her cruiser, arms behind her back. She stared at the chaos unfolding and said nothing. Her crew waited for her command. Was it authorized? One of her officers asked. Vetra didn't answer. She knew what came next. Kale gripped the console as the Sentinel moved. You have to stop this, he said. Rain turned to him. It's too late. No, Kale shouted. You can still back off. Send a signal. Something. Rain gave him a hard look. We've waited over 1,000 years. We won't be erased again. Outside, lights flashed. Energy beams fired. The first real shots of the new war exploded in space. The silence of Sector 9 was gone. Human warships moved fast. Old designs with modern upgrades. Dominion ships responded with brutal force. Explosions lit the dark like lightning storms. As Kale stared in disbelief. One moment, there was hope. The next, only destruction. He saw escape pods ejecting. Debris floating. No voices on comms, only static and alerts. Then the Sentinel shook. They'd been hit. Shields down to 40%. Someone shouted. Get us out of here. Rain yelled. Kale fell to the floor as the ship tilted. Sparks flew from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Rain grabbed his arm and pulled him up. You have to go. What? You've seen everything. You're the only one who can tell the truth. We have a shuttle ready. Take it. Get clear. Kale shook his head. Come with me. Rain's jaw tightened. This is where I stay. Kale ran with 2 crew members through a shaking corridor. Alarms blared. Flames licked at the walls. The shuttle bay opened. A small craft was ready. He climbed in. The hatch sealed. The shuttle detached just as another blast rocked the Sentinel. From the viewport, Kale watched the ship vanish into smoke and fire. He flew away from the battle, gripping the controls, eyes wide, heart heavy. Far behind him, the war still raged. Ships burned. The stars watched. The war Kale tried to stop had begun. Kale's shuttle drifted in silence. The stars were quiet again, but not peaceful. Behind him, Sector 9 was a graveyard. Wreckage floated where ships had once stood. Smoke and metal hung in space like dark memories. He didn't look back anymore. He flew toward a neutral outpost near the edge of the Helix Belt. It was old, forgotten, and safe. For now. His shuttle had taken damage, but the engines still held. Kale uploaded the files he had collected. Video logs, voice recordings, ship scans, proof. He sent them out through the relay beacons. Not to the Dominion. Not to the humans. To everyone. Traders, miners, fringe worlds, border colonies, civilizations that had no voice in the great councils. He sent the truth to all of them. Humans are alive. They never died. They came back. News spread fast. In the galactic markets, traders whispered about the footage. In Dominion command centers, officers watched the videos with pale faces. On distant moons, children stared at their screens as the old myths came to life. Some were afraid. Some were amazed. And some, those who had waited in silence for something to break the Dominion's control, celebrated. In the heart of the Dominion, Commander Vetra stood before the High Council. She did not kneel. Her voice was clear. The war has begun. We fired first. I accept responsibility. The council sat in silence. One asked, can they be reasoned with? Vetra's answer was simple. No, but maybe he can. Kale sat in a small room at the edge of the station. He watched the stars outside. The relay beacon flashed, sending his message again and again. He was alone. No side claimed him now. The humans thought he'd betrayed them. The Dominion called him a traitor. But people were listening, and that was enough. He had started something. The silence was broken. The myth of humanity was gone. In its place stood something real, something uncertain. The war had started, yes, but so had the truth.